Alright guys, so we got our compensation for the Ivan raid being broken, and if you're someone who's not in the loop, or maybe you're just a little confused at what the whole hubbub is about this Ivan raid and how it was broken, let me explain it to you briefly. So, over on NA we had Tugunska Sanctuary, which is basically one of the best events in the game. It is absolutely insane. The raids drop tons of materials, QP, they're great for bonding up your servants. It's just a really good event in general, and we were supposed to have an Ivan raid, a Surtur raid, a Retainer raid, which, you know, if you don't know what the retainers are, it's just guys that cycle through as we take them out. A new guy replaces them for a good couple of hours. And then we have the big bad boss herself, Koyenskaya, and that one lasted like 2 days. I mean, she's absolutely massive. It took us a fat minute to take her out. But bottom line, that first raid, the Ivan one, was not working. Or maybe to say that it wasn't working is not accurate at all, because it was working technically. It's just that the raid was already defeated in the programming. Like, the code launched the raid really early, so by the time we actually got it around like reset that day, bro was already defeated. He was already long gone by that point. He had been beaten for like the last 8 hours before anybody had access to the raid. And the reason this is so controversial to a lot of people is that, one, yeah, part of the event is broken, but I don't think that's actually what a lot of people have the biggest concern with. Like, sure, if you wanted the hero proofs that Ivan dropped, that could be a little bit annoying, but we still got to do, say, the Surtur raid, who stuck around for a little bit, and you were still getting, say, the bond, the QP, the mats, all of that good stuff. But where I think a lot of people have an issue with the raids themselves is the banner that is tied in with the raids. Now, you do not have to summon on the banner, but it is highly incentivized for you to summon, because even if you don't want, say, Taigong or Nikki, because Nikki is a decent servant and Taigong's really good, but he's quick, so you might not want to summon for him, because if you don't have Scotty, dude is really not going to be doing all that much work. And even then, we have, you know, full power Buster farming, and we have full power Arts farming over here on NA, so you're probably going to want to do that instead of quick farming, especially since we don't even have Ruler Scotty and we'll not be getting her for like 7 months. But there were CEs on the banner, especially the 5-star CE, that was immensely powerful, even if you just got one copy of it, because it gave you a sizable 80% damage bonus to the servant that it was equipped to. It also gave you a 30% bond bonus to the entire party, which is better than like Chaldea tea time and lunchtime. It's ridiculously strong, especially if you got numerous copies of it. And then it also started you off at 40% NP, which was just nice to have if your box wasn't on the stronger side and you needed that starting gauge, or maybe you needed just a first NP to get you going, and then maybe you'd fire a second NP if you didn't have the most optimal setup. Regardless, the CEs were really what you were going in for, and myself, like a lot of people, went into that banner because the CEs are so immensely powerful for the raids, and then not being able to use them for one of the raids feels, I don't know, just it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. You still got to do a lot of farming. I got all my farming in. I literally have like 4 golden apples left, and I got well over 1 billion QP, and then I had to sacrifice a lot of that to level up Arthur for the video that I did yesterday, but let's just not talk about that one. I'm not salty at all about that one, trying to show him off, and he doesn't even take out the Koyenskaya. But it can feel really rough for a lot of players, because going in on that banner means you can't summon on New Year's, which, again, I just did a video on. We're going to be getting some strong servants coming back. Koyen Light coming back as the premier Buster support type servant. Then you have Koyen Dark, who's going to be one of the better Buster AoE servants, even though Kukulkan kind of knocks her off the throne a little bit. She's still very strong if you do want to make her your main Buster DPS guy. She's still very, very strong. Again, Kukulkan is just a better unit, but it doesn't mean that she got worse, right? It doesn't mean that Koyen Dark is any worse for it. Then someone like Tyra and Skahawk are coming back. Tyra is an immensely powerful servant, and while Skahawk I think is very strong, she's also very popular, so you might have wanted to try and go grab her. And so not being able to summon on any of these guys, or even having to dip into your quartz savings because maybe you were saving for Bizette, who's going to be coming out in February for Valentine's Day, just feels really bad. And so getting 10 Saint Quartz for basically a fourth of the event not working just is very frustrating. 10 Saint Quartz is still 10 Saint Quartz, you know? It's hard to complain when you are getting something back, but like I was telling a lot of other people, I thought that maybe some apples were also in order as well. Like maybe something else would have been nice if you were going to go a bit on the lower end. Personally, I think they should have just thrown 30 cent quartz to the player base and called it a day, I think that definitely would have calmed most people down. You have some lunatics that are going to be like, nah, I want 100 cent quartz, and say that unironically, which is just a demand that you're never going to get. Asking for almost 4 multis when they've really never given us even 30 cent quartz, like that is super rare for problems. And I can, again, only recall one time off the top of my head, and that's when London came out and had some issues. So they don't really do it all that frequently. But come on, man, this thing was trending on Twitter for a little bit because everybody lost their minds that the event was not working. And then, you had a lot of doomers going, well, if this raid is not programmed correctly, everybody left the office for Christmas, so the other raids might also be broken and nobody's going to be there to fix them. So everybody was like freaking out, being like, Tugunska is, completely ruined. And then some people were like, the story's not even that good, which I don't believe. I did enjoy my read of Tugunska Sanctuary. Taigong is not a fraud. Don't ever let me catch you saying that. But when there's no free quests and other stuff to farm, and then you're missing out on some of this content, it almost feels a little bit like a dead week. So I can understand why a lot of people were very upset and they wanted to get a little something more. And I think if you did want to do only 10 Saint Quartz for whatever reason, right? Like you're like, it's not that big of a deal. They only missed a little bit of the event, but let's give them 10 Saint Quartz. At least chuck other stuff in there, right? Like, throw some gold apples our way. Everybody loves getting gold apples, especially it would be in good spirit to say that, okay, we know that there's going to be more raids coming out. We're sorry that you couldn't farm the first raid, so if we give you more apples, that allows you to play the other raids, and it kind of makes up for it. You know what I'm talking about? Like, that just makes sense to me to be, hey, in good faith, we're sorry that we messed up the first one and you feel like you're missing out on farming some of the raids. Take some apples so you can go farm some of the other ones a little bit harder, especially because Korean Dark, I understand that not everybody can really do it consistently. I did throw out a video to try and help people out and show an NP1 setup that I was using with no real high investment aside from having to have Korean Sky and Oberon, but trying to give people ideas like, hey, this is what I'm doing at NP1. If I can try to find a way to make it work in a 3-turn clear and still clear all the enemies, you should be able to do something as well. I wanted it to be a little reassuring that you don't have to have this insane whale setup or like the best servants to really do it, but it would have been in good spirit to be like, Korean Sky is going to be around for like 2 days. And so take these apples and go farm them. So I don't know. I can understand some people just looking at the 10 Saint Quartz and be like, man, that's really not enough. But maybe they also viewed it in a way that, they gave out 15 for Christmas and they maybe thought this 10 was kind of in addition to that. So maybe they're viewing it like, well, we really gave them 25 Saint Quartz. And they might view it that way because I don't believe JP had the advent calendar. I don't recall actually like logging in and seeing the advent calendar thing pop up over on JP like I did on global. If I did have that, I might have just missed it. So maybe they kind of treat that as like a global exclusive thing. And they're like, yeah, here you go. Like, we're giving you bonus Saint Quartz that JP's not even getting. Plus, we're going to give you this as an apology. But I don't know. I don't think it's the end of the world. But it is, I don't know, just kind of in, not poor taste, but it just leaves this weird feeling with me. Like, not like I'm dissatisfied, but it just doesn't feel good. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't feel great, especially because they didn't toss in anything else with it. But I don't know, I'd like to get your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Again, you can't go crazy and be like, I wanted 100 Saint Quartz and a billion QP and 100 golden apples, I wanted all my stuff back. It's like, no, they weren't gonna refund your Saint Quartz on the banner, because even though it's advertised that you can use these CEs in the event, technically, you did get to use them for the other raids and the main quest. They didn't advertise it for Ivan specifically, so I think they're completely fine on that and not having to refund anybody because, it's not false advertising. And true, the Ivan raid would have only lasted maybe 2-3 hours. We were a little slower on our clear over here on NA, which thank goodness for that. It gave me time to get bonus clears on, say, Surtur, the Retainers, and I even just took a break from Koya and Sky because I was like, she'll still be here in the morning. But for those people that were waking up, which I did see in my Discord server, I saw people popping up being like, dude, I stayed up really late for this. I got to work in the morning and now I'm going to be like really tired for nothing, basically. So I can understand that general frustration, but I don't think it's the end of the world. It's just leaving that sour taste in my mouth. But I would like to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below. Make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for that daily FGO content. And I will catch you guys in the next one as we start talking about some of the better things that are going to be coming to NA. Some of the GSSRs, the new units, all that good stuff. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit more hype. Plus, we also have the JP new units that we're going to be getting and stuff. So don't worry, we're going to be moving into hype stuff and you don't want to miss any of that. And I will keep you informed. But with all that being said, let me stop jabbering on and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.